Hey, I'm Nick Smashbro from Legit Gamers 255, and I'm reviewing
Dead or Alive, Dimensions.
for the Nintendo 3DS.
Now let's get this game started. There are a ton of different options in Dead or Alive Dimensions, such as the Chronicle mode, which is the main story mode. There's Arcade mode, where you face a set of enemies. There's Survival mode, where you face a lot of different enemies. There's Tag Challenge, which I'll talk about later. There's Free Play, where you make your own matches. There's Training, so you can get better at the game. There's Local Play, so you can play against a friend in your room or something. There's Internet Play, so you can play against someone else around the world. There's Throwdown, so you can play a very difficult challenge that randomly downloads. There's Showcase, so you can look at your trophies. 3D Photo Album, so you can look at the pictures you've taken of your trophies. There's Fight Record, which is kind of self-explanatory. And there's also Options, which is also pretty self-explanatory. Now I'm going to start out by talking about Chronicle. Chronicle is basically the story mode in Dead or Alive, and right from the start there are two options, New and Chapter Select. We're just going to pick Chapter Select for this review. There are 5 different chapters, each one is a part of a big story, obviously. And I will tell you this, if you've played Dead or Alive 4 on the Xbox 360, it's the same exact story to my knowledge. The Dead or Alive story is told through numerous cutscenes such as this one. Most of them are pretty dry and bland, and just try to show off the 3D effects on 3DS. And the characters, when they're talking to each other in these cutscenes, don't move their lips at all. So they kind of held back on the graphics in this part. As you just saw on the touchscreen, Team Ninja added in a feature in the cutscenes where they'll put vocab words that the characters say in the cutscene that they don't think you know, and they'll define them for you, which is kind of nice if you're not too familiar with the Dead or Alive story. I have been a personal fan of Dead or Alive for the past year now. Don't think that I'm giving this game a high rating because I like Dead or Alive, because I'm not. I'm completely basing this off of pros and cons, things that I found that I liked or didn't like. And the cutscenes are one thing that I did not like. A good thing about the cutscenes, though, is they do try to stick things in your face, like Bayman just did there with his knife when he was showing it off and stuff. And that can be kind of cool for a few minutes, but it gets old after a while. Now, before I talk about the control scheme, here's one of the more vibrant videos. Minor gripes aside, you're not playing this for the story, you're playing it because it's a good fighting game. So, let's talk about the controls. It's a simple 4-button control scheme. Y is guard, X is punch, A is kick, and B is grab. And then once you get those 4 simple concepts down, you can string them together to get better, stronger attacks and combos. Another good thing about the controls is you can use the circle pad or the control pad depending on which you prefer. In my case, I preferred the control pad. Also, if you want to be a noob, you can click on the touch screen and pick commands that you want the computer to perform for you. It's kind of nice for the longer combos that you might not be able to master right from the start. But it can also be a problem because when you're playing against somebody online, they can use the touchscreen, and you'll come across some people that only use the touchscreen and they'll just knock you out of there when you're trying to have a fair fight. And the game lets you know when that's happening too.
Get ready, fight!
The graphics and overall appearance during a match are quite nice, except when you turn the 3D on, the frame rate goes down to 30 frames per second, whereas normally it would be 60 frames per second with the 3D off. Also, when I showed this game to Christian, he noticed that there weren't any special moves, which I never really paid attention to, but now that he mentioned it, that's kind of a downer, because special moves are always fun in fighting games. There are 25 characters in Dead or Alive Dimensions, or actually 26 if you include the secret character which is on the dice block. If you hold down L, R, X, and push A on the dice block, you will unlock a 26 hidden character, but to do so you have to unlock all the other characters before you can get the secret one. I have not gotten the secret character yet because I still have 2 characters left to unlock. I'll need a lot more practice to unlock those 2. There's also a plethora of different levels ranging from the forest to a cruise ship to an ice wasteland to an opera stage. And there are also multiple tiers that you can knock your opponents off of to unlock more arenas for further use. Out of all the levels, my 2 very favorite levels are the forest level, and then there's also a Metroid level, because Team Ninja worked on Metroid Other M, and I just thought that was pretty cool that they added in a level from Metroid, and it even has some background characters like Ridley. Here's the Metroid level. I guess it's called Geothermal Power Plant. And as you saw, Ridley flies around in the background, and if you knock your opponent off the edge, which I'm going to show in a few seconds here, Ridley grabs your opponent, drags them across the wall, shoots a fireball in their face, and then slams them down on the ground. Just like that. It doesn't kill your opponent, but it brings them down pretty close to death, where if you just punch them one more time, they'll go down. This was one of my personal favorite add-ons to the game. DOA has local play. You need 2 game cartridges to play this. You cannot do DS download play like you can in Street Fighter 4, but it's still very fluent and great to play against your friends if they have DOA as well. And then there's internet play, where you play against someone else online. It's basically the same exact thing as local play, except you don't have to be in the same room as the person you're playing. You can play against anybody. And I found that the online play is pretty smooth for the most part, but it can get a little laggy. And you'll also run across some pretty cheap players, like people who use the touchscreen all the time, or people who use characters that can easily kick your butt no matter how good you are. And here's one of the characters that I was talking about, Tengu. He has one move. You can use it over and over again. It's easy to pull off. All you have to do is push left and L, or I guess backwards and L. And he does this wind spin attack like I just do right here, where you keep knocking down the opponent and they can't attack you unless they get lucky or something. And you can just get a perfect on the opponent. I've done it before online. I'm pretty sure people have gotten really pissed off because of that too. I really do not suggest playing against an opponent if you find they're playing as Tengu. And then to wrap up this review, I'm going to talk about Tag Challenge Mode, which is really fun. You can play it with your friends to do a tag team match against an enemy, and the enemies are very difficult. I'm just going to let you know that now. And to unlock, I'd say at least 4 of the characters, you have to do it in challenge mode, and that is why I'm not unlocking the last 2 characters in the game, because it's just too difficult. There's 20 challenges, which will keep you going for maybe an hour at max, and it's a nice addition to the game. Overall, Dead or Alive Dimensions is a solid fighting game. I would highly recommend it to anybody who likes Dead or Alive. And to new players, this is a good place to start because the difficulty level is perfect. You can select whatever you want from easy to extremely hard if you're a Dead or Alive veteran. And it's very easy to pick up and play and just get into. Now here it is, the final decision. We're giving this game an 8.5. Also, Christian and I have done quite a few fighting game reviews, but don't worry, we've got a Zelda review coming out soon, hopefully. And please subscribe to Legit Gamer 255. Hope you like this video and have fun playing your 3DSs.